I'll call the meeting to order. First thing is approval of minutes of February 6th.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of February 6th.
I second that motion.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next addition to the agenda, I have one. Roger Kane was here. I meant to call you this afternoon, but I got swept away with other things. But anyway, Roger's here, and he has some bridge request for proposal drafts for us to look at and probably approve tonight. So I would add Roger to the agenda. And actually that's under bridges. And let's see now, are there any other additions to the agenda?
I'll second that addition.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next, communications. I forwarded you one from DEP or DOT that wants to refer selectmen to the local traffic authority, and they are DOT is planning to systematically replace existing pedestrian signage and associated subplates with new retro reflective warning signs with post delineators at all unsignalized in mid-block marked crosswalks, as well as repaint the crosswalks on local roads throughout your city and town. So
My question is, on local roads through cities
Right.
and towns, that means their roads or our
it
roads?
sounds like their roads.
I mean, I would assume they're
Right.
talking about their roads, but when they
Right.
refer to
So-
local roads, it made me
Yeah.
think they were thinking of,
Well,
I can't imagine them
The
going
more
into-
pedestrian safety delineation we can do, I think the better. So with your approval, I'll sign on to that program. Is that okay? Any more details?
No, we
That's
certainly need them. We've been talking about it long enough, and
Right.
down in Cornwall Bridge and in West Cornwall both.
I think the only question would be where are they actually talking about?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. So I will find out from the engineer. So
The few
then I will
places.
sign that and send it off.
Okay, good.
So consensus is okay.
Census is
Yes.
okay. Another communication we had was from Aquarian is trying to find environmental champions. The Aquarian Environmental Champion Award. It's an adult student. It says adult student,
Yes.
small or large business or nonprofit corporation. So there's the flyer. If anybody wants to think about that, there are some noted environmental stewards in town. So the nomination deadline is May 1st, so we can just put this out as something. Might bring this down to the school, $1,000 to the students. $2,500 grant to environmental nonprofit for each winner's choice. So that's pretty nice. So anyway, we'll think about that and put that on the agenda item. The only other communication I had, one thing I've worked on, there's been great interest in town to have some sort of reception for Steve O'Neill. And so we've been going back and forth. Of course, he's a modest person, doesn't like a lot of publicity and stuff, but we have agreed on having a very low-key reception for him down at the transfer station in the swap shop. Modest refreshments on Sunday or on Saturday, the 3rd of March, 11 to 1. So I wrote a letter to the Chronicle and said for everybody to bring their dump stories and recyclables, and we'll have a fun time. So thought that's the least we can do. I know other people have expressed their appreciation for his service in different ways, but I thought there should be at least some public event.
That's his last day or second to
Yeah, I
last
think
day?
it's actually Sunday, and I did talk to him about it. He said it's funny, he said he might be willing to be on the transition team. So I said I could think of we're not going to model on how the transition went in Washington, but it would be good to have his guidance in helping us down there. So
That's good.
anyway, he's willing to be on a transition team. I thought that was good. So anyway, so that's something to look forward to. Next, public comments. Any public comments? Let's see. Next is, why don't we have Bridges with Roger Kane, so we're sharp and savvy to get his presentation. I did see your RFP, so your thought, Roger, is we would solicit interest to rehabilitate our two bridge projects.
What I've tried to do is merge this into one public notice that the town is requesting two design build proposals. One is a superstructure replacement on Smith Place, the other being the gravel bank bridge. A little description as to what the project will consist of. Down the bottom, it does state that Leonard Engineering is developing preliminary engineering reports rather than plans. I didn't want to use that word, which include surveys for both locations. The projects are town funded. Performance bonds will be required. Prevailing wage rates will apply. Joint ventures between contractors and separate engineering firms will be allowed. So we're asking them to do the design work, and there are contractors well qualified to do the work that don't have the engineering staff. So if they want to retain the services of a professional engineer, that'll be quite acceptable. It also goes on to say that there will be a mandatory pre-bid site walk and meeting for each site, so that no one is going to submit a bid that doesn't have a pretty good idea what they're bidding on. I would hate for somebody to submit a bid on conjecture of what they think might happen, because the two projects can be very different. One being essentially a superstructure replacement, and they can design the superstructure. As you're all aware, I'm a big advocate of concrete. So both bridges will probably, in order to win my favor, be concrete structures. But I'm willing to, I've got a date on the very last line. It says by 1 p.m. on March 5th. I'd like to have the board's permission to leave that a little bit open to adjust as to what point I get the information from Dave Batista in order to establish this pre-bid meeting. So this is just setting up a request for letters of interest for their proposals, not for bid. So there'll be a pre-bid meeting, and then the bid will be required in, let's say, 30 days after that meeting.
So the date you're stating here, give or take a week or two, is just for the letter of interest.
Exactly.
And it should be, I'm reading this quickly, it should be very clear that these are two separate
Yes.
and independent,
The nature of the bridges are different, the locations are different.
well, and that they understand that they're not bidding, they can bid on one, the other, or both.
Right. So that's why, there would be a pre-bid meeting so that people do realize that
Right.
maybe they're interested in both, maybe they're only interested in one or
Right.
the other. Further down the line, as we get to that point, I will talk to the board further about, I kind of like the concept of once the structure is, let's say the structure at the gravel bank is determined, then I think there was a significant cost savings in the town pre-buying the bridge and having it fabricated. And then the contractor essentially is just installing the bridge, very much like we did on Flatmark.
So, do you think there's something to be said for saying this is for the 2018 construction
Well, it does
season? I mean, because
it
I mean,
says that the work is to be done, especially the work on Smith Place in September of 2018.
but do you, well, my other thought on that too is, if a company, I mean, how critical is it that that work is coordinated? Because I thought the last thing we heard was that it's not vital, and I'm just thinking if somebody has something blocked out for September, shouldn't we just say we don't care that much as long as, I mean, because we thought that that wouldn't, the last reckoning was that that wasn't going to impact traffic that much, and if it gets us a better bid, that is more, if we keep it somewhat wide open that we want this done this construction season, we might get more bids than a reference to that. I mean, I don't have a problem saying it's coordinated as long as we make it clear that we want the work done
Yeah, well,
this construction
So
season.
maybe you could say that both of these, don't have that line in there, but at the bottom, both of these projects are to be completed in the 2018 construction season. Separate sentence, the Smith Place Bridge could be coordinated with
that.
something
Yeah.
that could be coordinated with the closing of the covered bridge.
The whole purpose of this is to put two legal notices into one, thereby depriving the newspaper of additional revenue. But, catching two birds.
You can delete that out of your article. We love the press.
But legal notices are expensive, and this essentially will alert all of the people that might be interested that something is going to be happening. And there will be a meeting prior to their bidding on it.
Right.
And at that time, we can discuss scheduling, and, yeah, there's no reason why it couldn't be done
I just
sooner.
thought if we had it open-ended, that might attract more
Okay.
bidders, because that's been a somewhat of a issue out here. What was the other thought?
Do you have people you send this out to as an announcement? You do.
What we do, once this goes into the newspaper, then we take a copy of that and send out what's called an invitation to bid.
Oh, okay.
And to let people know, I've had a couple of engineering firms ask me, what's going on, how come I
Yeah,
haven't been called and so forth. And I would assure them we will let them know
Good.
when it does
okay.
approach contractors as well.
Several contractors, several
Yeah.
engineering firms.
This way, it'll give us a list of those who are interested, and I want to specifically let small contractors know they can team up with a local engineer. They don't have to have the engineering services in-house.
Is there any way we can nail down when the preliminary engineering will be done, so we can say it will be done by April 1st
Well,
or something, so they know?
the preliminary engineering has to be done before we have the pre-bid meeting, in order to give them the information necessary to do the bid.
Okay.
I talked to Leonard today,
Mhm.
and reiterated the fact that we are aiming for the end of February.
Right.
Quickly approaching. And he said that's going to be hard to do, but he's working on it. I had a meeting with Bob Hawk, who was
Yep.
the surveyor, and Dave Batista out at both locations the end of January. And at that time, they felt they could get the preliminary engineering pretty well done. When I say preliminary engineering, it's not enough to do a bid. It's only going to give us a magnitude, the size, the shape of the bridge, the fact that the bridge on the gravel bank is all on town property and traffic will not be a consideration. We'll just close that during the time of construction. We do have to take into consideration what we're going to do with Smith Place and temporary access, but I think that can be done in relatively short order.
So Bob Hawk has finished the surveys and the elevations, or that's ongoing?
It has not been submitted to Dave Batista's office as of yet. I believe that the work has been done, but I don't think he's sent it. It's all on electronic now. But by talking to him today, we'll probably help stir the pot and see if we can't get something.
Good, so what you're looking at is you want to hear from people by March 5th. You probably want to get this out fairly soon.
Well,
Or do you want to say?
before your next meeting is why I thought maybe having this brought up and discussed tonight.
Right,
If we can get the approval of the concept of putting out a request for proposal by the end of the month at any rate. That way I may move this March 5th date.
right, okay, so that's flexible, so we're not going to put it in the paper on the 4th. All right, got it. Okay, so with that, so then with those understandings that we're going to work around some of these dates
The
and
scheduling.
the scheduling and
The
stuff.
concept, I guess, is what I was
Right,
hoping to get
right.
approval on.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that we accept Roger's draft RFP for bridge work with the idea that we're working on the schedule as we speak.
This will
And
go out.
This
under
way
your
you're ready to
signature.
go. When you're ready,
Right.
we're ready.
But as long as, we have the option of getting it out, hopefully right before the next
Right,
Board of Selectmen's meeting.
great.
Well,
Second that.
We only need a limited amount of time between the legal notices and the notices going out to the firms and this date, because it's only a letter of interest.
Exactly.
And if they see it and they have marginal
They
interest,
just- They just have to decide, do we want to do this? Do we want to go after this?
do we want to show up to see what it's about? Okay, we can show up. We're not full up for the summer, so we'll,
It raises a flag to them, there is some work in
Right,
Cornwall
right.
this year.
so this time frame can be relatively short.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What about trade groups like Brown Construction or any of those organizations that
They-
track projects?
They pick them up, they
Right.
look out to the newspapers,
Yeah.
and they look for, all you have to do is put RFP, and that's all it takes for them to,
Right,
bells and lights to go on, and they notify all their subscribers. So they take the public information and put it into notices to contractors, engineering firms, from
right,
some form of public notice.
good.
Well, great. I think we're moving in the right direction.
And then after you have these meetings, we'll probably actually go out to formal bids April, May.
Well,
Probably April.
I'd love to go out to request to have a pre-bid meeting somewhere in March
Right,
with a request for bids back by April, mid-April.
okay, good. So we'll probably have David's preliminary work by our next meeting or a meeting in March. Yeah.
Right. Well, I might talk to him about it again, and every time you stir the pot, things come to the top.
Good.
And, I don't think it's going to take David an awful lot of time. I talked to Todd Parsons, who once upon a time worked for the DOT while I was there. And he has absolutely no idea what David is doing. Dave is doing all this himself, so I don't think there's an awful lot that, he's not assigning a lot of work out.
Okay, so this is his thing. Great, okay, so we've pretty well discussed that, I think. Any more discussion? All those in favor of going ahead? Aye. Great, okay, thank you, Roger. One more little thing.
Unrelated, I met with the DOT bridge inspection crew, Ned Statch, who's a senior engineer.
Right.
For the safety group, and 3 inspectors were out last Wednesday. They did an initial inventory inspection on Flat Rock Road. That will become a biannual
Right.
state inspected bridge. They were mildly impressed, as much as they ever get on about bridges, but.
They must have liked the improvement, they must have noticed an improvement. Huh?
Well, most of them had never been there before.
They-
It was funny.
They said-
They asked me about what was there, Ned did. Ned did
Uh-huh.
the old bridge, but the actual inspectors.
Oh, they hadn't seen the before picture.
They just looked at this new bridge. They said, too bad you left all this stuff in the way, you can't, get down. I said, wait a while, it'll move. But,
Okay.
that's all like shower protection. And then they went over to Smith Place, which is on a annual list because of its deteriorating condition. I've been over there later in the day, and that hasn't improved any, but it hasn't deteriorated anymore either.
Right. Status quo. Good. Did you tell them we have plans?
Yes,
Smith Place?
we talked about that.
Good.
Ned has finally agreed that the large void he refers to in his report is a stone clapper, which is, years ago, they put a large stone across the top of an opening to bridge that area.
Right.
And before they put the new pipe in, there's a concrete pipe under the bridge, the water course came down and came through the stone wall under that stone clapper. And you have to be old enough to know what a stone clapper is in order to understand it.
Right.
And he finally agreed that, it was a stone clapper.
Good.
He stopped referring to it as void.
Good. I have a stone clapper on our farm going under Town Street if you want to visit sometime.
One right down the street here,
Mhm.
down by Calhoun's driveway.
Great. Okay, well, thank you so much. Anything else for Roger from the board? Good. Our next project is spring oiling proposal. Jim Bannicky recommends, the highway foreman recommends that we engage Seymour Sealing, who's worked for us for a number of years in the spring, putting down MC 3000 in place with Harlem Valley Stone. This would cover most of the roads in East Cornwall and some of the ones south of here, Valley Road, Everstill, Essex Hill. So I think, it's almost 11 miles of road for $154,000. It's a lot of money, but it's a lot of road to be covered, and I think it's very important to seal the roads. You see some of these for winter like we've had, a lot of freezing and thawing. You see a lot of cracks opening up, and it's good to get them when they're small. So,
The damage this winter is just starting.
right,
We'll get some freezing.
wow.
Some
There's some big
freezing.
ones on 128. But anyway,
And
we get around them.
the charge for this at the $1.38 per square yard.
Right.
The town's obligation, flagging,
Little flagging.
loading, anything?
Yeah.
What do we?
No, actually, they mostly flag themselves. We do some traffic control, and we do, I think, load up the trucks. That's about it. They have their own spreaders for the chips and their own oil.
Right, that spreader.
Mhm. And again, this would be done in April. So I'd make a motion, we accept this bid for chip sealing. I believe Seymour has the state bid in this district. And they've done a good job in the past.
I'll second that. My question would be, what was the price last year?
This is a little bit more, but I don't think it's significantly more.
So just slightly more per square
Yeah.
yard? I mean, that's how they determine it. Yeah.
Mhm. So any more discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next is budget 2019. We did have a good hearing last week with the Board of Finance, so it is in their hands at this point. And they will have there will be additional joint meetings with them coming up in the next several months. They're going to hear from the school, I think in next week or 2 weeks. They've heard from the high school. As we said before, Cornwall's share of the high school budget is going up about $200,000 next year. our high school numbers have staying the same, where anybody else is going down. So that's basically what's happening. There's one large class in particular that's quite large from Cornwall up there, and there are some more high school kids moving to town. So, and as I said, the other towns and districts, high school population is decreasing, so that's why our share is going up. Next year, it probably will go down. If I had to forecast, probably the approximate same amount. So, but anyway, so the Board of Finance is working on that, and we'll meet with them later. The next thing on here is the Housatonic Railroad Vegetative Management Plan. If you guys get a copy of that,
It was emailed to us, yeah.
email the version there, which is quite thorough. It's quite convincing if we hadn't looked at sort of the mess they've made on the right of way in the last several years.
I would say that it explains
The rationale.
why it needs to be done
Right.
and how they go about doing it. It doesn't necessarily explain what they've already done in the past to
Correct.
access.
Here we go. The summary on page 12. In summary, highly trained, licensed professional applicators assisted by railroad personnel will apply herbicides chosen from a state and federal approved list that are specific to the target vegetation. By using state-of-the-art equipment and specific adjuvants, applicators will safely, efficiently, and economically manage vegetation on the right-of-ways. The end result is a safe and environmentally sound transportation system. Well, we haven't quite had that result here. And my only main response to this is before they spray more stuff, what's their plan for taking down all the trees they've killed on the edge of the right-of-way? I mean, these aren't just little honeysuckles and multiflora rose bushes. These are
Yeah.
70-foot pine trees that are dead and are either heading towards the state road, the Housatonic River, or the railroad tracks themselves. So I would say, how are you managing that vegetation which is now dead before you spray anything else? What's the plan, guys? Because they're going to fall within a fairly short period of time because
Within a
they're
couple of
dead.
years.
So that's my thought. I mean, I
I
don't
think
have
that's a good thought. Send them a letter from
say
Cornwall saying,
from the Board of Selectmen saying, before you spray more stuff,
Yeah.
we would like to know, before we accept your management plan, how you're going to manage the dead trees which were killed as a result of your spraying. And
Yeah.
it's been well documented. It happened 2 falls ago,
Yeah.
and they haven't gotten any better
Yeah.
in the time. So that's my thought before they spray anything else, because it's a dead zone. And to think that they need to pour on more stuff. I mean, I have no problem if it's overgrown, if there's bushes there, but it's dead. And the trees are dead.
yeah,
There's not a lot of
The,
biota in the whole.
The cover
right-of-way.
letter that they sent, noting the recent legislation that's
Correct.
requiring them to do anything, to notify us at all.
Right.
It doesn't require Cornwall or any other town to approve what they're doing, I don't believe. It just requires them to tell us that they're going to
This
do
is
it.
what they're doing. They can't do anything without giving us a plan. So I don't know if we say don't spray, does that mean they can't spray? Find out.
I don't think the legislation authorized
Us to
prevent-
stop
Yeah,
prohibit spraying.
I mean, I don't know that, but I would imagine that to be true. The state wasn't giving up its authority to the towns.
Right.
I would think the state's the only one that has that authority, seeing it's a state right away.
Yeah, it's state property after all. No, it belongs to the state of Connecticut. Bought it from Penn Central. Just this section, going, I believe, down to New Milford is owned by the state.
From Canaan to,
Canaan to New Milford, maybe?
yeah.
Okay, so any other thoughts on the management plan? Okay, I'll send that out.
Do they have a date on there when they said they're gonna do this spring?
This is,
No, it did not.
well,
I didn't think it did.
they have some stuff they do.
They talked about pre-emergence and post-emergence, but they didn't really say they were going to do this then.
Is the plan available for public review?
Absolutely.
Is it on the website? Or
It's not on the website yet, but we can send it over there.
Thank you.
And it doesn't,
It would be, let's see, the pre-post, probably not getting all right, but anyway, application timing, talking about the spring, and then they do inspection and see how, see what happens after they do the spring spraying.
nor does it say what chemicals they would be using except from the approved list.
Right.
Yeah, well, the damage was done from the approved list too.
No, I agree.
Right, it was quite a cocktail. Right. So anyway, we'll press on with that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next, we have a vacancy for the transportation operator's position because of Steve O'Neill's retirement, and we have so far 4 people interested in applying for the job, and they all look like they could be qualified. So Joyce has been hard at work trying to schedule these interviews half-hour apart, so that and on the same day. So it looks like everybody's schedules are coalescing around next Monday morning, starting at 9:30, and last interview would be at 11, and we'd meet probably half an hour beforehand just to get us our game plan together. What we normally do when we interview people is we can't do this in executive session.
We can do it.
We can do
Yeah,
this in
yeah.
executive session as we hiring people with the consent of the applicants. But we would ask basically the same question. We get a set of questions. We ask people same basic questions, so everybody has a chance to answer the same questions and take it from there.
And so we're lined up 1, 2, 3, 4, 9:30, 10, 10:30, 11.
Pretty much.
Good.
Okay.
Well, if you can get me here, otherwise I would say have it at my house.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's probably better if we do it here and just keep it accessible. So we're going to post, with your permission, then we'll post a meeting for 9 o'clock on Monday morning, and
Well, so far
Hang on
you're doing okay at this meeting, so you have the.
My only problem is getting here. It takes
Yeah.
2
right.
minutes.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, you can get me here, fine. Coming
Right.
down my front stairs. No, I'm good.
Yeah, well,
It's just I can't do it myself.
Okay. So then, is there a motion then to have interviews Monday morning here at Town Hall?
are you making the motion or you want me to make? I'll make a motion that we have the interviews here Monday morning.
Right.
And that'll be an executive session,
Right.
I second that.
maybe in the big room over there, so.
Right. So there's not. Yeah. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So then we have appointments. There still are some vacancies. Good night, Roger. On boards and commissions. Um, First thing to clear up is the Economic Development Commission, which has 2 vacancies. We had been alerted at our one of our last meetings that we have to have minority representation on that commission, and it had its maximum amount of members of the Democratic Party, so we needed either more independents or Republicans. So since that time, an independent, Simon Hewitt, has come forward. He came to the last Economic Development Commission meeting, and also I think at our last meeting we nominated Bianca Griggs, or sometime in the
Yes.
past we have done that, but because she was a Democrat she had to switch to independent, which she has, and then I believe there's a 3-month period which is up or will be up shortly.
Good.
So she will be cleared to certainly go to the meetings and vote, I believe, in April. So I would make a motion that we appoint those 2 people.
So Simon Hewitt effective immediately, and
And
Bianca,
Bianca will appoint, and then she will
When
be
she-
able to vote when, I think it's 3 months after her change of party.
Okay. Second that?
Good. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Then, Planning and Zoning Commission alternate. Had 2 people express interest. Richard Griggs, Philip West. So there, at this point, there's one opening. So I would nominate Philip West, and there's one opening, 2 people interested. We normally do is have nominations, second, and if people don't want that candidate, then they vote no and make a nomination so we get someone elected to fill the spot. So at this point, I would nominate Phil West, that position.
I'll second that nomination.
Is there any discussion? I think they're 2 good candidates. I think Phil is currently not on any town boards, and it's good to try to spread.
Yeah,
In-
is he? I don't think he serves on.
Yeah, he has been on he has served on other things, but he is currently not. So, I think it's good to spread it out a little bit. He has been active in the town plan meetings and also at the meetings going on at the school, talking about the town's future.
Okay.
So,
Does his political party, is that an appropriate?
I think we're good for that part. Yeah,
does that apply to the alternates
it
also?
does apply to the alternates.
It does.
Yes, I believe we have at least one Republican alternate. And I think, I'm not sure what Ben is. I think Ben Graves, a Democrat. So he can actually be anything. Still be on there. You can't have 3 members of one party if 2 people are on there aren't members of the same party, so you couldn't get 3. And you can have 2, but you can't have 3 of the same party.
How many, they have,
3 alternates.
3 alternates. Wow.
So any more discussion? All's in favor?
Aye.
So we still have some more positions out there which we can fill. I know heard today Kate Fragang would like to be on the Conservation Commission. I believe there's at least a couple for there. Maybe some other openings too, but we're getting down there pretty much for the openings. We are looking for somebody for the Torrey Area Health District, Tourism District, which I will get to bring to the Economic Development Group. And then, Board of Assessment Appeals.
Oh, thanks.
So anyway, we can keep on working at that at our next meeting. Anything else on appointments? Next, with Cornwall Firehouse renovation, John Laporta and Paul Kindle, the building inspector, and I met with some contractors at the site. We're still looking to get some bids, do the insulation work there, so we should have something by next meeting. And working with the officers there to look at not just the insulation part, but there's also reconfiguring some of the insides the West Cornwall Firehouse. So we're gonna work on those, so we should be able to get you some quotes and bids back soon. Let's see, anything else?
This is still on the insulation part, this is still the first
We're
half of
still-
the project.
And then the second half comes in the summer.
So that seems to be moving along.
That's moving along. Yep, we've had did you see the plans? Lisa Keskinen, did I tell you all this? Lisa Keskinen drew up these plans. She actually donated time to the project. She came up with very nice baseline plans. Short history of the West Cornwall Firehouse. The front section here with the front bays and the meeting room were designed and built in the 1970s. Einar Lindholm was the architect.
Yep, I remember that.
And then as soon as they opened it up, the department at the time said, well, we have more stuff. So they put a Morton building on the back, steel building, which is full. And, but there was never any site plan tying this all together. So Lisa's done that for us. So we have a way to move forward with the project. And again, she's donated some time, not all the time for this, but it's good to have this on the building. So it's coming along. So this is the area. The big work change will be redoing the mechanical room. There's an old generator will be removed, heating plant upgraded, probably going to propane from oil. Probably take out some of the wall here to make more room for the ambulance in there. So anyway, so John's working to get the consensus of
So
the
this
department.
is all parking area.
This is all, open bays for all the equipment is in here.
Okay.
Boats, trailers, SUVs, ambulances, fire trucks, and a lot of other hoses and stuff. So anyway, it's coming along.
If you build it, it will fill up.
It would certainly fill up.
So true. So true.
Got it. Okay, let's see, I think we're at the point of public comments. Questions from the press?
Question, clarification, can you tell me what RFP stands for?
Request for proposals.
Okay. And then on your appointments, the Economic Development Commission, there's Bianca, and you named a second person?
Yeah, Simon Hewitt.
And how do you spell Hewitt?
Oh,
HEWITT.
And he's an independent?
yes.
And then to the P.
Actually, he's HEWETT.
Oh, it's ETT? Oh, my
He
mistake.
is an ETT.
So what is he again?
I thought it was IT.
He is,
HEWETT.
yes,
That's different.
he's an accountant.
He's in town.
Then your P and Z
still
alternate
think
was
it's an
Phil
I.
West.
Phil West, with
WS.
2 L's.
2 L's, just to make the spelling exciting.
Seymour Sealing. Seymour?
Got it. By coincidence?
Checking.
Yeah.
Thought maybe his name was Seymour.
Nope, they're from Seymour. Any other questions? Okay.
Can I just get a copy of the last page of that management plan? I don't know that I want to read 12 pages.
The last page, the summary? You want the front and the last page? Gives you contacts on the front.
Good, me, yeah. Okay. No?
So if you you think your letter is gonna have some impact with them if they don't have to, by law, pay attention?
Well, I'm an optimistic person, but say based on the track record, no pun intended, it's pretty stark down there, so.
And that came last year, right, the legislation?
Yes,
You had-
yep.
you had to-
It started actually, yeah, Roberta Willow started it and Brian Oler picked it up,
Picked it
and
up
it's,
and got it.
it's one of the few accomplishments of last legislative session. Um,
Joyce, if you could make a copy of the whole thing, or you could take it and put it on the website.
You may want to do that
Send an
electronically.
electronic copy, that'd be easier to put on the
Yeah,
website.
send it electronically.
Okay.
Yeah.
You could have whatever you're doing there.
Okay.
You were on Sunday morning radio one day.
Oh,
last
no,
year.
really?
Very convincing about this
Oh,
vegetation.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was good. Yeah, we had, Brian and I went to Hartford and we had some legislature who was concerned about our impact on the interstate commerce clause of the Constitution. And so I said, well, I'm not a constitutional lawyer, but we're just trying to do the same thing they do in Massachusetts, so that's probably bringing us into compliance, so take that.
That's good stuff.
So there you go. All right, thank you. So next on our agenda is a application review of transfer station applications.
That's it, right?
That's it. Okay,
Going into executive session.
go into executive.